All right, so welcome. We're going to log into Cloudlab. Cloudlab is a distributed cloud platform that is available for education for doing experiments and research and academia. So let us go ahead and log in. Now I've previously created an account, so I'm going to log in with my username and password. All right, now that I'm logged in. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got some experiments. It shows me a past experiment that I've run, and it shows me a current experiment. So I'm going to click on this current experiment here, and it's going to show me kind of how it's set up. So this is pretty simple. I just have one computer here in this experiment. You can request experiments with different kind of lab setups, and if you're an instructor, you can create different experiments for your students to be able to use to kind of get an environment already set up with a lot of the prerequisites. So you don't have to like have your students do a lot of prep work just so they can do their homework. You can give them a kind of basis for getting right to the homework assignment. So in this experiment, I can go to a list view, and it's going to tell me what resources I can use to get access to that machine. And if there was more than one node involved, it would give me all of the access to those nodes. So I addressed how you set up an experiment in another video, but in this one we're going to get right into our experiment. So I'm going to take that information that it provided to me, and you can just copy that if you want. I'm going to do that here, and then just paste it here, and uses key authentication. I addressed that in another previous video as well. So just go ahead and log in. Okay, so here I have access to this machine. Now this machine is located at the University of Utah. My experiment set it up to use a machine up there, and I requested a small node, but they can oftentimes give you bigger nodes depending on what their availability is. So let's take a look and see what resources we have here. So you can see that I got a 132 gig of RAM on this system, and let me look at our number of processors I ended up with. All right. It says here that we have 0 through 63, so they gave me 64 processing threads. So this is a 32 core system with dual core. And you can see we've got a lot of flags for extensions here, and one of the flags that you can see here is the SVN. So this is a this is an AMD chip. If it was an Intel chip, you could look for the KVM extension, but for AMD, we're going to look for SVM, and you can see here that it's got hypervisor capable, right? So this chip has the ability to actually do hypervisor type activities, including Docker or virtual machines or other things like that. Now, when you set up an experiment, you can have it preload, like I said, with specific information, like you can have it pull a GitLab or a GitHub type repository for the type of data that's in there. You can request it so that it has some storage that you can use between multiple experiments. If you're trying to, like, say for instance you were setting up a lab where you wanted like a couple of gigs of storage for each student, and you wanted to be able to have them keep that storage throughout the whole semester because they would be referencing the same data over and over again. You could actually create that as storage that they could keep for the entire semester, and then they could come back to it again and again with different experiments and kind of create a collection of data that they could download externally. So yeah, so this machine, I only have it for another 10 minutes. Basically, when you reserve time, you can reserve it in blocks of 1 hour, and you can set up the experiments how you want. So Cloudlab is super useful, and you can do anything from mathematical science, physics, different types of hard sciences like geology and astronomy can do experiments on here. You can do lots of data experiments for programming or information technology or technology management, those types of things. And eventually, this network is going to be able and capable of handling ties into your own classroom science DMZs.